Good morning. Good Thursday morning. Thanks for joining us here at Market Day Report. I make sure I get the show right. I do too many of them, so my little brain can't keep up. But let's talk about what we've seen happening overnight. Okay, that's going to be something you're going to be all looking for here. And I've got a corn board I'm going to pull up after yesterday's trade. It was kind of an odd one. But corn, look at the range today in Dees corn overnight. It was only 3 cents. And so we've got SEP up 1.25 cents. We like to see green on the screen. That's good. 405 is where we went out. Dees went out at 4.1925, up a penny and a quarter there. We're up a penny and a quarter all the way across the board. But again, a very quiet trade because the low and the last is only 3 cents wide, and the low and the high is only about 3.75 cents wide. So not a lot happening there. All right, that's corn. Let's move over to see what the beans had in store for us here. They rallied back a little bit late in the session. As I sat down for the radio show this morning, right before this all shut down, we were a little bit lower here in beans, but they made a move back towards the end of the night session. So we got a SEP board up 1.75 cents to 10.62 even, and that's just off the highs by a penny and a quarter. And the new crop Nova up 2.5 cents to 10.66.5. All right, so I guess that's your little bounce. Let's take a look and see what wheat did. And this is a Chicago wheat off between say 3 to 5 cents. SEP's off 5 cents. That leads the way lower. 5.42 evens last there. And that's, I guess, 1.25 cents away from the low of the day there. That would be kind of mildly concerning. March is down 4.25 cents to 5.8675. And that's 2.25. No, that's just one tick off the low of the day there. So I guess that's trading weak as we go into the end of that session. Let's take a look at the hard red in Kansas City when that does kind of flip up here. See how it gets stuck there sometimes? I don't know. We're 7.5 cents lower basically across the board there as well. Hard red in Kansas City, but the SEP board's down 7.75 cents to 5.5975, and that's a penny off the lows there. March is off 7.5 cents to 5.90. And that's three ticks, 0.75 cents off the lows there. All right, so they're all kind of giving us the same pattern here. They're all trading near the lows of the day. We'll see if spring wheat's doing its job there. Minneapolis spring wheat's down 5.5 cents and SEP to 6.05 and again, yeah, that's a 0.5 cent off the lows. March down 3.75 cents to 6.40 All right, so there you go. This is one that got hurt overnight, but it's rallied back. So 20 points better in the Dees. 68.85 is last, but look at that low. The low was 100 points ago. So that's what we were talking about when we saw that one earlier this morning. That's a pretty good recovery when it comes to the cotton. Let's move on and talk to our next guest analyst, is Brian Hoops. He's the president of Midwest Market Solutions in Springfield, Missouri. Thanks for being on. Good morning, Brian. All right. Top of mind, what are you thinking?
Good morning, Scott. Well, we were lower until about 7:30. Export sales came out this morning. It weren't great numbers. In fact, old crop sales for both corn and soybeans saw some cancellations, and we ended up with about 3 million bushels of soybeans. New crop, of course, very strong. We had a big sale of soybeans last week, private sale. So we had 30.5 million bushels sold this week. We had a private sale again this morning, 264,000 beans sold to an unknown destination. So I trade again. We'll assume that's going to be China trying to stockpile, and that's normally what they do. From now until harvest, they step in, and when we see weakness in prices, they usually step in and start accumulating and buying some product. Wheat sales were only 11 million bushels, old crop corn 13 million with some cancellations, new crop at about 29.3. So soybean sales were, kind of the strongest ones, with corn not too bad, but we're going to look at weather again this morning for our long-term price direction. The near term has better showers today than what it did yesterday. In the next 2 weeks, it's going to be hot and mostly dry, but there is some rain chances. And then we get into the end of August, the longer-term forecast, 16 to 30 days, we return back to that pattern where we see quite a bit of rain showers once again. That should be beneficial to the crop. So it's kind of a short term here where it's hot and it's dry. We're seeing some fund short covering, and that's really the key today, is now that we've closed a couple cents higher in the overnight, do the funds step in and continue to buy and drive these prices back to the plus side and see if we can hold some gains, because the last couple days, farmer selling has capped the rallies.
Yeah, it definitely has felt like that. It felt like that yesterday too, and we're settling closer to the lows than the highs, a lot of these things. So do you expect, with what we've seen happening all around us, we had durable goods come out with a big miss, but we had a big beat, or a better beat, when it came to GDP here this morning. And with what we had happen in the stock market, do you feel like there might be any capital movements back and forth between, say, commodities, interest rates, and equities here today?
Yeah, I think there certainly could be. I looked at gold and silver last night and it was down sharply. I looked again this morning and boy, we're just seeing a big sell-off in those markets. Gold's over $44
Yep.
lower, silver is 150 points lower this morning. Those big sell-offs, tell us that maybe there's some capitulation in those markets, and maybe some of these fund traders want to step back into another market. So they're going to try and find something that's cheap and could rally. I don't know that corn, soybeans, wheat fit those criteria, but I think it's something they're going to find. Stock market has sold off and now is trying to find some support. I'm looking at the screen; it's just a couple ticks higher in the S&Ps. We've had like an 8% sell-off over the last week or so.
Yeah.
That's usually about the
Yes.
corrections that we see, and maybe we're going to start to see some money flow back into that market here.
Well, definitely stocks are on sale, that's for sure. All right, stay right there. We're going to go away. We're going to pay some bills. We're going to come back and talk more with Brian Hoops, Midwest Market Solutions, about the livestock trade from yesterday and what he thinks might happen today. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Let's see what we did yesterday in these live cattle or the cattle and hog markets, and we'll see what we might be getting on our hands today. Let's take a look. Live cattle yesterday, it was a mixed board. Fronts were higher. We had a 15-cent. I'll tell you what, there wasn't really that much going on, but we were 15 cents better in October live cattle to 186.27. But as you went out, the deferreds, April lost 70 cents way out there to 190.17. So that was what those boards look like. Not a lot happening there. Let's move to the feeders and see what yesterday brought us again. That was a lower board. We went to September. That was off $1.90 to 256.70. November was down $2 even to 255.67, and those were closer to the lows of the day, both of those. And then finally, let's take a look at lean hogs. That's been a source of strength as of late, and it kind of held in there yesterday. October closed up 90 cents to 78.02. Let's bring him back in and see what he's got to say. Brian Hoops, the president of Midwest Market Solutions. Brian, anything you want to get off your chest when we talk about these livestock prices?
Well, mandatory price reporting showed us a little bit of cash trade, 187 in Kansas, 188 in Texas. So, pretty much steady with a week ago. Now, the August futures have been discount, and they've rallied over the last several sessions. We're pretty much in line with that 187. I don't know if there's a lot more upside to that August contract because there isn't that strong of a push or fundamental bias. But the deferred contracts have tried to follow, but have been reluctant followers. That's where we could see a little weakness today, I think, is in that December contract on back, maybe a little bit of strength in August and October. But like I said, we're pretty much on par. So we could have some real choppy trade until we see that cash trade. Exports that were out this morning, 13 million tons of beef and 30.2 of pork. Pretty much where we've been the last 4, 5, 8 weeks, just kind of right in this pattern. Nothing is really standing out as strong sales. We have a cold storage report out this afternoon, so that usually affects the hogs a little bit more than cattle. We may see a little bit more of a positioning type movement in the hogs, but they've been pushing higher on a lot of short covering here recently as the cutouts and the index is starting to gain some traction.
We had Daryl Peel on yesterday. He said he really doesn't see any replenishment really starting. I mean, in total. So things are still pretty tight. Real quick, 10 seconds to you with the sell-off in the equities, because there is a little bit of, everybody keeps their eye on that. Will that affect the cattle today?
Yeah, I think it probably will. I think if we can find some recovery here in these equity markets, it should help that cattle market to a very small extent, but it should be supportive. Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. That's Brian Hoops with Midwest Market Solutions in Springfield, Missouri. He's the president there. Bring it back home to Nashville and say good morning.
Good morning. Ready to start the day?